Recording is in progress. Good evening, y'all. This is Quebec Platoon, evenings and weekends. We're in Module 1, which is Week 4, Day 3, Class Inheritance. We've been talking about classes for 2 days now, getting into inheritance and kind of getting into more, I don't know, ways to show you how classes can be dry, I guess. We don't want to replicate a bunch of extra code in a class that's similar, right? If I'm doing something like I'm doing a pet store and I need dogs and I need cats, but dogs have number of legs, cats have number of legs. That's silly, right? We shouldn't have to duplicate code anywhere we go, except for like boilerplate. But um, so looking at this, I can make that a little bigger. We have a class of programmer. Programmer has a name, employee ID, department, and languages that they work in, right? Languages like how they code. That'd be a weird thing. Um, Here's an accountant, very similar to a programmer. We'll see. They have names. They've got employee IDs. They even have departments, but they've got this self-certification. Oh no, look at all this duplicated code. I'm not going to reenact this. I reenacted it last cohort and it was stupid. Y'all can read that if you want. Basically, it's silly, it's cringy, but keep it dry. That's right. Like you got this and this, you got this and this. That's nonsense. We can do better, and we will, as pointed out. Right? Employee has a name, employee ID, and a department. Um, if we have 50 different kinds of employees, right? Because we've got managers and like the desktop people, you got the DevOps, all these different things. You're going to have a bunch of replicated codes. And it's 2024. Lines are cheap. That's fine, right? This is not a matter of making this more efficient. This is not a matter of preserving, space, disk space. This is a matter of what if, I've written 80 of these, and then someday the CEO shows up and says, "No one's got names. We're changing that. It's now first name and last name." Oh no, I have to go fix that for all 80 of these, right? What if I miss one? How do I know when I got them all? Yeah, I know VS Code. I can hit Command D and or Command Shift D. It'll go find. Is it Command D? Oh, I gotta remind myself. Anyways, I can go find them all, but that's not like perfect. Someone still has to verify it did it right. Someone else still has to review all that code. Keeping it dry is not about space and efficiency. It's about when I need to make a change, how many different places do I want to make that change? We can solve this. We can solve this with inheritance. Inheritance is basically sharing. Another way object-oriented programming gets you looking at solutions is, am I solving a problem here that is similar to any other problems? And when I'm doing things that are similar to each other, what can be combined? Where can I save myself work? Um, where can I inherit, work that I already did into something new without having to change everything? Let's try and get all the common features of all our employees, right? Names, IDs, departments. We can call that basic employee. Oh, I didn't know. Uh, inherit, inherit by basic employee. Name, ID, department. Now, we go to create programmer and accountant class. Some things are going to be, reused to a point, but this is just one line, and this is where we're instantiating, right? Um, as far as what's unique to these, what is unique is what's going to be added here. So, programmer and accountant. To instantiate these, when we do instantiate these, this is inheritance. Just like an argument to a function or whatnot, we're going to be passing in this first class, basic employee. Sean, what are you giggling about? Is this class related?
No, I read
Your
your file
file, your
name.
file name.
Guys, grow up.
I,
All right, fine. Okay, I get it now. I was shortening the word. Y'all know what I meant. Jeez Louise. That is not my biggest oopsie on camera or would be, but I'll tell you all later when I'm not recording myself. So, clowns. Clowns. Class, programmer. We are instantiating it when we instantiate it with basic employee. So this is a new class and it's taking everything from here and basically passing it as an argument. We'll instantiate the same way with everything we need. For what it's worth, I think this sucks to have to put it here and here, but that's the way Python works. There are some workarounds, maybe, but they tend to make it more complex. So super, this is just saying, this is, what is super stand? Is it supersedes? We'll look that up. It's not important. What we're saying here, though, is when you instantiate, take this from what you inherited. These specific things. Maybe we don't want all of these all the time, right? But whatever we set here is going to be used. And we probably do need these because this is required, right? I'm getting a little too high level. Let me just kind of talk about it.
question.
Yes,
Does it only take in the instance variables and not the class variables, or does it take everything from the parent class?
it, we're going to play with it. Y'all ever hit Python and just hit enter? Y'all do this? Y'all seen a shell before? Have we messed with this?
We did it yesterday with Julius. It was the first time I did it.
Excellent. So this is one of the times this is really useful. I think, not that I'm going to be doing this all the time. It becomes less useful as your data and whatnot gets bigger, but just testing quick little objects and whatnot. This is like running the script each and every time. This is like hitting Python inheritance.py a million different times, right? I'm gonna have to fix that. But don't save that. Open this. There we go. This is like constantly being ran, basically. We're in the shed, the way you want to look at it. We've like opened it up and we're in debug mode, kind of. Well, in a second we will be. So from inheritance dot help, just that import all. I can import any one of them, any that I want, but we're gonna import all. So this is gonna be the basic employee, right? This is this is gonna be the CEO. We're gonna call him Don because that's my CEO's name. Equals, basic employee Don one department. What department would he have? I don't know, admin. Does that work? Did I mess it up? There we go. So we got an inheritance object. We can look at it like this. This looks more like a JavaScript object in a way. I don't have to, this is not a dictionary, right? Because this won't do anything. There is no, that's not a thing that won't run. Well, that's not identified, but that doesn't, it's not subscriptable. It's not a dictionary. That doesn't work. We run dot methods on this. This is an object. There we go. It's there. Great. Everything else is there. We'll show you later how to add a string method to this so that if I just printed Dawn, I wouldn't get this object. This is helpful to know that it's an object, but also we could give it output to print out more of these things. So what if I want a programmer, right? Oh, God. No. I'm a programmer. We'll just take, just make this faster. Yeah. So will this work? Before I hit enter, will this work? Why not? I'm trying to create a programmer, right?
Gonna say you're missing a parameter, I think, because you didn't put the language.
Sure, I don't have languages. Python. What about now?
Now you don't have department, right? you do have to have every single one? Is that right, or you don't?
Because, so this is gonna, I'm dealing with, I need to specify these things, right? If I don't, it's just gonna take them in order. Uh,
Does it matter if it's the same employee ID as the other person,
not,
Dom?
not here,
Okay.
not here, it doesn't, no. Because it's just a variable, it's just, it can be as many as they want, right? These don't have to be unique. So I'm a programmer. I got my languages and I got some junk from basic employee. Let's run it. Oops. It's not the error I wanted. Oh, look at that. Because what we're inheriting from has required uh, instance variables. It needs that too, right? And I know this seems like I'm super babyfying it, but I want y'all to really think about what these errors are going to look like when you're building them out. If I am borrowing basic employee is being instantiated at this point here when I call it. And these are the things that are going into it. So right here, this is creating an instance of whatever I plugged into here. So it needs everything you would need for a basic employee and then some.
Do we have to identify like employee ID equals or language equals, or are you just
You,
doing that for visuals?
you don't. The reason I'm doing that, and something you'll start to feel a little bit with objects, is look how many dadgum arguments I have, right? Normally it takes them in order, positional arguments. It'll take positional arguments, right? What if I get them out of order? You know, that's what we're kind of looking at here. So these are mostly in order, but does department come before? So department needs to come before languages. So I would need it like here.
But doing it this way, you could put like department equals whatever as the first print or first argument if you wanted to.
Exactly. It's your choice, right? You can take positional arguments if you want in that order, but it's just one more thing that can get messed up, right? If there's one or two, not a big deal. Whatever positional arguments, it's fine. It'll figure it out. But as these lists start getting longer, you kind of stop wanting to have to pass them in exactly the same order. It'll drive you a little nuts, and it starts to look like soup when you're passing a bunch of the just random arguments in there and having to compare them to this and then look up here and compare them to this, right? This is available in functional programming, but this is this is a great way to keep yourself all organized. And as we do more OOP, maybe you don't feel that way. It's the way I feel. Do this because you can get them in any order you want. All right.
Is
That
there a way
works.
to return what's needed if it's like a long script and you're like, oh, I don't remember what's needed for programmer? Is there something to call, or would that only be docstring? You just get an error.
It told us exactly what it was missing. And because I only offered it 3 and it needed a 4, well, actually, because I put these on here, and just to further the point, we're gonna rewrite Jordan. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't care about that. Just to further beat the horse, just so we're on the same page, right? That's a useful output. I could very quickly figure out what the issue was. If we're doing this with positional arguments, though, these things become less true. If I were to take away like employee ID, it's saying, hey, you don't have languages. What are you talking about? They're right here. Right? That's why I like keyword arguments to my objects, because save yourself pain later. This is fine. You can do this. If you're not going to get them out of order, that's your choice. But these errors are only as smart as we build them out. Let's make these errors as useful as we can all the time and immediately helpful. Use keyword arguments with your objects. That's not the rant I thought I was going to go on, but it's the rant I needed. Cool. We about beat that horse. I didn't show you all count it, but I think we can all surmise what would have happened if I had set that up. The certification would be the difference. Here's a helpful thing. Basic employee passes down to programmers. They need all of these things, right? I don't know why that's that, but this is what we just did, right? We all agree. Is this necessary? I'm going to pull this up of the README. I think it's silly. But some people are more visual. Yep, we sure got ahead of this. So we created a programmer. We showed that we could check whatever we wanted with that object. A CP grad or whatever. It's everything plus employee. Yada. We talked through this. We talked through all this. This beats the hell out of the dead horse. But I love killing horses. Real quick, let's get a volunteer. Who I've not heard from. Daryl, I don't think I've ever spoken to you. You're in the hot seat. Let's go. I need you to create. Actually, that's making that too complicated. Down here, we're gonna build an animal store. I need. Oh wait, that's a bad one. Let me think about this. Cars. We're doing cars. All right, so I need a class of cars, but I also have I want two classes, truck and minivan. Tell me, just start talking. What are the things we kind of want?
We'll start with I guess the super class, the cars,
Yeah, sounds good to me.
class cars.
So it's always I'm just thinking about it. Generally, we'll try and keep these as singular. You would want it cars because it's an instance of just one thing.
Got it.
So, all right. Don't have to think about everything ever that a car has. But just name some things. What do you want to? What do you think that minivans and trucks are going to have in common?
Make, model, color.
All right, great. Yeah, we'll stop exactly there. Oh, I messed up.
Semicolon.
Huh?
Colon. You're missing the colon.
I'm putting
Over
one.
here. Yeah, good call. I was trying to do this fast and I got ahead of myself. All right, cool, great. That looks good. So now maybe those were a bad example. But heck, let's go with it. So how do I, using the example above, what do I do next?
So in parentheses, you would pass in car.
Yeah. Sounds good. Then man, this is stretching. I don't want to. Yeah. All right, cool. So what now?
And then we would create another init function.
Yeah, probably just copy this one.
Is that also called a constructor?
Let me come back to you on that. Because that is a thing, definitely in JavaScript. I need to double check myself on that with Python because it's doing something similar, but
I think JavaScript calls classes constructors, don't they?
well, they have constructors as well. We'll talk about it. I think I would not call this a constructor yet. No, I wouldn't call this a constructor. But kind of in a way, man, that's getting kind of, I got to think about that. I don't want to think about that. Let's keep going.
Then we would passing the super init with the same
Yeah,
variables or the same arguments.
sure, yeah. And so it's truck. What do you
We could do like truck bed.
yeah, let's do like bed size or something like that. That's where my mind went. Yep. You know what drives me nuts? It's how wordy some of this OOP is. We can't help it. This is the way it is. And I know why we have it. Doesn't this stuff just drive you little nuts, all these selves? Oh, why is this lit up?
That needs to go in the first init.
That's right. Because this is where we're deciding, this is basically where we're defining these or saying we require them. Yeah, good.
And we basically do the same
Making-
thing for van.
Yeah. Let's do that then.
Instead of bed size,
Uh, yeah, that's see a bad example. Isn't it? I don't know. We'll just say like
seats,
no
maybe.
seat rows, something like that, right? Yeah, that's a hard example. I always do like animals, but animals get kind of stupid too. Great. All right, that works. So now, just for the sake of it, if I wanted to instantiate some kind of van, this is our, I don't know, the Dodge Caravan or something.
Equal van in parentheses. Then you just pass in the different attributes.
Van, right? Dodge. Skip on 4. And just to display that we can also do this straight up from the terminal. Let's see, go run that, run that, run that. Oh no, we messed up. How did I mess up? Seems right, right?
Gotta have the class name first when you're trying to print it.
I don't think super needs self in it. Where's my notes?
Yeah, I don't think it does either. Does it? Does it? Yes, it do.
It says it
No, it
only
does
needs
not.
4, and
You're
we gave it
absolutely right.
5.
You're absolutely right. 3. Yeah, we added self to it. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that because it's not specific to this instance just yet. We're not passing self in this case would be this function. We're not passing this instance to car. If we were, it would have access to this truck, and that's we basically be passing it to our inheritor, so the inheritor would know things about our truck. We don't want to get into all of that. Self does not belong here unless you want to do something weird with it. Are we all good on this? We all clear? It can feel a little bit like beating a dead horse. However, repetition on this stuff helps you get your head around it a little bit. I know it's kind of a new way to think about these things. So I don't mind going over it a few times. As we get more and more complex with OOP, I'm going to keep trying to get as many examples as I can. Because it's easy right now, it's simple, but when we start getting more wild with it, we have a an ice cream challenge later that people hate. Where I'm like, hey, build an ice cream shop. Anyway, well, that's not a thing. That's a bunch of things. And it's like, well, no, I mean, just, you know, it expands really quickly and we really mess your head up and we're like, all right, I need a thing that accepts ice cream and also runs through a timer and decides when it's cold. And then when it's cold, you can have it or not have it. And it changes its state based on whether it's cold or not cold enough and the different flavors. And how do you break that up into inheritance stuff? And I'm trying to make it sound complicated and it does jack people up. But when you see it solved, it makes a lot of sense. That's why we're going to keep pounding our heads against this until it's easy peasy for us. Because I want y'all to be able to do this. There's maybe like an exam or two where we're like, hey, you better use classes for this. But it's your call. I'll tell you, everything I've ever built on my own, any like side project, personal project, if I don't start with classes, I go back and I start adding classes because as things kind of grow, as your ideas grow, any kind of forced organization can be very helpful for you. And nothing's more frustrating than a stupid problem you cooked up for yourself. Any last questions